we wrote to a number of people and that we have started a project like this in Ashoka University. We are setting up an archive and we would like to preserve your papers for posterity.
It's almost like you are cultivating a relationship with the donor and their family.
So this is the trust, as I said, the foremost challenge is to build that trust. Nobody is going to give it to us, but trust is, whether we know about the work, and second is where are you going to put it and how you are going to do it, what are the facilities. Something which is different in Archives of Contemporary India, Indian University. I think this is the first private university which is having this archive type, and it is being used by undergrads also.
Welcome to the second episode of India Unarchived, a podcast by the Archives of Contemporary India, Ashoka University. Today we have the privilege of hosting Mrs. Deepa Bhatnagar, the founder director of Archives of Contemporary India.
With over 3 decades of experience in the archiving modern history, Mrs. Bhatnagar has played a pivotal role in preserving our nation's cultural heritage. She has successfully led several high-profile archiving projects and has co-edited several volumes of the selected works of C. Rajgopalachari.
Join us as we delve into the fascinating world of archiving and preserving India's contemporary history. In this episode, Mrs. Bhatnagar will share her insights on the importance of archiving, her experiences, and the challenges she has faced. So let's get started on this journey of discovery and exploration.
Good afternoon, Deepa. I am Arushi Bhargav and this is...
I'm Mumtaz Muhyiddin.
And we are Young India Fellows from the batch of 2025. We are very excited to have you here as our guest for the podcast series India Unarchived by Archives of Contemporary India.
Good afternoon, both of you. It's such a pleasure to have you here on this podcast. In fact, I am grateful to you for conducting this and organizing this podcast on Archives of Contemporary India.
We're at the forefront of preserving India's history, something which is a very significant in itself. As someone with a deep responsibility, could you please tell us what actually drew you to archiving in the first place? What were the motives behind?
Actually, this is not my first instance, and as you all know, that I have worked in Nehru Memorial Museum and Library for almost 3 decades, 32 years I was there. And I have learned archiving on hand. Like, I am not a trained archivist. I joined Nehru Memorial publication department, and which publishes documents which are stored in the archives, and like the collections that are there. Like I was initially appointed for doing the selected works of Motilal Nehru. And when I came there, earlier also for our research, we used to, I belong to Allahabad. I have graduated and even post-graduation from Allahabad University. So I used to come for research work to Nehru Memorial. So I used to consult papers there. So, but that was as a researcher. But then when I was appointed there as an assistant research officer in the publication department, so we were asked to select material for the selected works. So that material that we selected was from the archives in the Nehru Memorial. And there were a lot of papers besides Motilal Nehru, his correspondence with other freedom fighters and all those, his contemporaries like M.S.N.A., Abhyankar, M.A. Ansari, and C.R. Das was his contemporary. So I looked through and sifted through these collections for selecting, letters, documents, speeches. And there was another important source was the, microfilm. There were a lot of newspapers, old newspapers. And Motilal Nehru had started independent in 1921 and the files were in Nehru Memorial. So we looked through that and were selecting speeches and all. So I really got interested in seeing all this archival material. And then as years went by, and not only in Nehru Memorial, we used to go to collect material on Motilal Nehru in other, like National Archives also and other state archives and all. So I visited a lot of archives in this connection, and that's how the interest developed. And then we were compiling these, into different subjects and all, and like correspondence separately, then speeches and writings, and chronologically. And so I learned a lot there, and looking through this, and it used to excite us. The Mahatma Gandhi papers, used to see the correspondence of Motilal Nehru with Mahatma Gandhi and the original correspondence. So that used to, and that went on for long. We did 7 volumes on Motilal Nehru. And then, later on, I also did Acharya Narendra, that was a socialist, but very different also collections I did. And the selected works on these collections, Jayaprakash Narayan also I was associated with first 3 volumes. Then later on, Rajaji, that Rajagopal, and Rajagopalachari papers also came to Nehru Memorial from his son Narsimha. So we had our deputy director, Dr. Haridev Sharma, who was very, very proactive in collecting materials. And he also had a great sense of history, that all these should be preserved. So initially, Nehru Memorial did a lot of work in, preserving history. So that's where I got interested. And later on, as, my career progressed, we did many collections. Then I became in charge of the manuscript division also in the 90s in the end, and 2000. So for about 14, 15 years, I was heading the manuscript section there. And there then I saw very closely how the cataloging was being done. We used to select and do, see for selected works, but there I saw the cataloging, how they worked. So brought some changes, what I thought would you like. Pagination is very important, and especially later, because the material used to go to the reading room for the readers. So if it is not paginated, what a page falls and all. So all those kind of things, initially I was responsible for that. And then when I got, then digitization project also was started during my time when I was heading.
Just a follow-up question, ma'am. Out of all the processes that you have mentioned, which process did you enjoy most?
I think I enjoyed publication the most, because then we used to collect material and then read through that. And, it was not only the letters that we did, we annotated them. So a lot of research work went into that.
I would like to know, and also for the audience to know at larger, what exactly is publications? How different it is from archiving?
Publications of these kind of letters which people haven't seen. So it is more to bring it into the public domain. Everybody cannot visit the archives, So that is why the Selected Works project was initiated in Nehru Memorial. So
it's not the complete work, but you give a gist of it.
Yeah, it is like Gandhi's are collected works. That they don't sort of, but we sort of sift through those and we do a selection. Even Jawaharlal Nehru's are selected works. It is not that, sometimes people are just writing 2 lines, how are you, this, that. So that we don't publish. We try to select material which is useful from the political, social and other history point of view. So that selection also we used to do, and we had our director, Professor Ravindra Kumar, and the deputy director, Haridev Sharma. So they used to look through that, and, if we suggest that this is what we have collected, and so they used to make a selection. We used to sit together. We had a very good time there in doing. So, we were actually sifting through, looking through original letters, original material, which we were publishing, bringing it to public domain. And then, but we were also, that not only that, we were also annotating them, so that the research went deeper.
Makes sense.
And we used to go to the library, look into, the idea was that the lesser known people, like Motilal Nehru, people knew, but a lot of people worked with them. They were workers, and also we used to actually go to the extent of even contacting their families for that. And please give us little bio, little. If you look through the Motilal Nehru or Rajaji volumes, the first 3 which we have worked on, you will see a lot of material on all the freedom fighters and all the people who were associated with these personalities, and also during and in different capacities. They were in the council, they were members of the council, there was a disagreement sometimes. So all that is there. MSNE, M.A. Ansari, all these papers are there, and Shyama Prasad Mukherjee, and then there were also institutional collections there. There are, these Hindu Mahasabha papers, and there are these AICC papers. So we used to look into those AICC papers, and a lot of, working committee meetings and what is going on, and Gandhi intervening. And also that was very interesting for us.
Ma'am, I just wanted to know, when you took up this monumental task as a founder director of the archives of contemporary India. I'm just curious, what were your first steps? What did you do exactly? What were the conversations like? And what kind of an impact you were hoping to make with the archives?
Initially, nobody knew that, how much how many people would sort of give to a private university. So they wanted first initially to explore the idea. So finally, then I said, okay, let's take the plunge. Let's see. It was something, a plunge in the unknown. Not because I don't know what is an archive, but unknown because there was no archive, there were no papers here. But they wanted me to come here and explore the idea that the eminent people who have influenced the emergence of, or they have a relevance to the emergence of modern India, and also certain institutions that have played a key role in, say, art, science, and media studies, and also management, business. So if they can give us the papers for preservation as well as for future reference and all, because see, what is this? That is what we were doing in Nehru Memorial. They were collecting, and also it's not that we were publishing only a few, but a lot of scholars used to come and were consulting so many other collections that are there. So, and that is what we wanted, that if we can have some archive here with those papers, and also make it available for researchers and scholars to come and consult. But that was the initial idea. So I took the plunge, and in 2017 January I came here, and they offered me the post of director without any archives. I keep telling everybody that there was nothing. But then Professor Mahesh Rangarajan he was the chair, and he has a very good academic reputation, and he would approach anybody, he would know he's honest, and he would do good. He was also in Nehru Memorial as director. So that's how we began, and we started approaching people through mail, through interviews, through meetings, and it somehow picked up. And then, of course, Professor Ranshu Mukherjee, he put us in touch with the grand nephew of Radhakrishnan. And that, was actually, yes, that went up.
That was the path turner moment.
Initially, as I told you, Professor Mahesh Rangarajan and myself, I was given a room in this admin 2 on the 5th floor, small room. And admin block. And now you know where we are. So there, and he was on the ground floor, I think the first floor. So he used to come to my room, and then used to discuss to whom we can. He said, first thing is we should write to people, and that's we have started a project like that, and then they should be. So that's how it started. We wrote to a number of people, and with his signature, like a mail ID we used to get. He gave me a lot of addresses and emails and people, and we wrote to a number of people, and that we have started a project like this in Ashoka University. We are setting up an archive, and we would like to preserve your papers for posterity. So, very surprisingly, we started getting very good responses. We got a good response. First response that I think, to the letter writing was Kuldeep Nair. Yeah. And he himself called, and that time this university was growing up, and we were just sitting there. I had, of course, a telephone on my desk, but it wasn't sort of connected away. So I received a message from the desk down below that the Kuldeep Nair wants to talk to. So I was quite taken aback that why is he called there, and how did he get that number? So then we quickly said, okay, I'll get back to him. So then I called him up, and he said, so I'm willing to give my whatever I have, the collection, and please visit. So I also live in Vasant Kunj, and he lives in Vasant Vyas. So I took no time. Very next day I went to his house and I met him. So he showed me the shelf. There was a shelf of bound volumes, which are now with us in the archives. And he said, you can take all these. So I was like amazed. He showed, all the cuttings right from, say, when he started writing, 40s, 50s, 60s, everything's there. And I think you are doing a project on that, between the lines.
Yes, I am.
So I wanted somebody to do that, because unfortunately he's not here now. But, he was very kind. But then he started talking about, say, what will be the provision, what is the process and all that. So then we realized, see, that's how you asked in the beginning. So then we realized, we must sign some kind of a memorandum or an agreement. So we drafted an agreement.
And what kind of an agreement?
It's an agreement between the donor. We are not buying anything. It's the donor. He's donating. So we have to do something for the donor. So we had drafted. I can show you that agreement also. So what we do is that, okay, the collection will be kept in his or her name, the donors. That this will be Kuldeep Nair papers, and we will digitize them, preserve them, and also make them available. We'll make a catalog, give it to the family, also make it available online whenever we have. We never had a website. We were just beginning. This website came only in 21. So, and this I'm talking about 17. And this, so then we said all this we promised in that agreement, and also one point we said that copyright of this will still be with you and your heirs.
And your family.
This is your family, and this Ashoka will not take. Ashoka is not the owner of it. Ashoka is only custodian of that. I think they like the idea very much, and then his wife was also there, and she also came, and then very nice, they treated me to snacks and tea and everything, and so that was the initial meeting. We didn't collect the papers then, so we said, okay, I'll come next, and he said, you can take all. So then when I went next, I took that agreement. It was signed by the chair of the archives, that is Professor Mahesh Rangan. That is what we do, and on behalf of the archives, and he would sign. So we have the signed agreement with us, and then he gave us, and then we took all this thing in a dicky, and it came, and then and it came into that small room on the 5th floor. I still remember, and we kept it on the shelf. But then I was not very happy about it. I said, oh God, this is here. We are supposed to preserve them. So this place should be, and then that is the first thing.
That is
the first step. And that we were, and it was quite a news for everybody. And I think the second step was Manmohan Singh's we got. Yeah, and Daman Singh, his daughter, was in touch with us, and I asked her whether you
What was the recent collection?
Recent?
Yeah.
Most recent.
Yeah.
Most recent, we went to Narayani Gupta's house, Delhi Heritage. She has done a lot of work on Delhi.
Okay.
So you see, that is the latest. And I think another one, we had Nand Chaturvedi. He's a poet, Hindi poet.
Okay.
So
These are the most recent ones that
these are the most recent ones.
Okay, so I'm going to take you back a little to the early days. As I can see and understand, there must have been hundreds of things happening. So I also designed an archive for my thesis project, so I understand how difficult it must have been logistically to set up a completely new archive. Could you talk about some of the obstacles that you encountered and how you might have tackled them?
As I said, I think initially the most, let's see, that archive started coming up. People started giving us papers. One after the, and as everybody knows, we got the Radhakrishnan paper. That was, but we went to Chennai 4 times. There was a whole lot of paper there, and in one go we could not bring it. So it came in batches in 4 trips, and in a huge truck. Every time there were 30-40 cartons and all. And by the way, his books, rare books, have also come here besides the papers. So the papers, but once we started getting these, where do you keep them?
Where do you keep them?
Because the building was coming up, and as we were told that it is coming up by 19, it will be operative. So we started, this was in 18 that we were collecting all this. So then we asked the admin. That was the big challenge. First is that they didn't understand what this is. It's difficult to, Professor Ranshu Mukherjee would understand, but why go to him for this? We needed a space. So one after the other, but then admin was very cooperative. We got one room in admin 2 itself. Then when Radhakrishnan things started coming, we said we need a bigger place. So then they gave us another room. And then very unfortunately COVID came. Putta papers there, Kailash Sankla papers came there. And in fact, Ulas Karan, one installment had already come, second installment had come, and lockdown was declared. And the truck, it was big tension for us. Papers coming from Bangalore. And our courier person, he was in touch with that. He said, Madam, what can I do? The borders are closed. So it was lying there for quite some time, but then safely it came. It was a big contingent. Then we had to again make space. But then by that time, admin had understood that we, needed spaces like this. So we were spread out in 3 buildings. One, this, that, here, 3 rooms. And we had some very little space to sit. So we could not do justice to the papers. We were trying to catalog. We were only 2 people in the beginning. There was this Deepshika Saluja. She was with me. You haven't met her. So she recently left, So she was there and I was there. And then I started asking for archivist who would catalog. I said it's unfair to keep the collections, you must catalog them at least. So we started building up our staff, the archives, who can. And then slowly we started doing the cataloging. But when the COVID came, then we did whatever was online. Like Manmohan Singh, we had got, so we prepared a catalog online, metadata online. All these people were sitting and doing it online. We got Suresh Kohli collection, Prabhakar Machwe collection during COVID time. So they made catalog sitting at home. So this is actually, and then the main challenge was, now see, we are collecting, preserving, but there should be a proper space and also control, temperature control. Now. So we were in touch with the architects, and we were always called for the meetings when, the building, plans were going on. So we had insisted that it should have this temperature control, because I have seen archives where the paper disintegrates because of temperature variations and all. So, but then they provided this to us, so that you have seen now the repository. I have seen it in shambles, because they called me in between, and so it was going on and all, but they have done, justice to the whole thing. So, and compactors also of good quality, they have put this Godrej compactors. So that was one thing. How initially, like I said, because of the COVID, we faced this. Then the next challenge was that, okay, we'll preserve them. Cataloging was very big. That is why we are a little behind cataloging, because initially we didn't have so many people. Then the point was how to make it available for researchers. We can't just keep it in the storage house. You need to bring it out into the public, and especially the researchers, the historians and all. So then we thought that, of course, we will have a reading room. Then the catalogs is one guiding tool, and metadata also. But then we designed this, we thought about the website. This is also during COVID time.
When exactly was the year when it was open to the researchers and to the larger public?
That when we moved into this building, actually even before that, if somebody would come and say, oh, we want, because so we would show it in our room. We had a small room, we would show the collection, the file. There was one scholar from Cambridge who came, who wanted to see something. So we didn't ever want to say no, but we told them that we have not been able to catalog, so we showed him some file. Yeah, still the process, we never say no to anybody. We are very open to showing. We have not come here to just put them in a store. And then in 22, when we moved in, you will not believe, we had 450 big cartons, not the small ones that you have seen, which we moved from admin 2 and 3 to this place. And it took us almost, I think, 15 days to move them.
The cartons.
Yes, and then once the cartons moved, then we had 2, 3 other archivists. We had Deepshikha, we had Shivani, and then we have interns. We said, I don't want any work to be done. I just want them to be boxed and fumigated. So we also want, because they were lying in stores there, so we have the fumigation chambers and all that. So that we acquired when I came here in 2017 itself. So all that material was fumigated and then boxed and then put it in this repository. So these people, they really, this team, you can't otherwise, this team worked, and all the girls, they really worked hard, and they put it all, and then the room that you see that they work, now on the cartons were piled from here till in that room. And it was difficult to move around. I used to feel, oh, when will it be done? But I said, okay, let's do it systematically. So that everybody helped, and we all copied. Yeah. So, and now you have seen, that's why I'm saying you are lucky, you have seen a very organized, but I'm happy that we were able to organize. And now, and it was then of course, main thing is we got this website on time. And so that, the word went around that this archives is here. So they used to come here, and everybody is now welcome to, it's all open for everybody.
So now with 85 collections in place and the number is continuously growing, as I hear, what strategies guide you when you are acquiring these new collections? And can you share an experience of traveling for these acquisitions, and what milestones have you achieved since that inception?
Okay, I think I can begin by saying that initially we try to meet the donor, whether he or she is in a close proximity of Delhi or anywhere else. So because meeting makes a lot of difference, we can tell them what is our mission, vision and all that. So it started off, with Jaipur, because Divya Bhanu Chavra was there, and then he said, if you can visit, come and see. So, and then the journey, then we asked Janji Prasad Bhatt, for it. He said, but you'll have to come to Chamoli for it. So, but then we organized a trip to Chamoli. So, it wasn't easy, and etc. So, we went to Chamoli. And then we asked for help, that we were only two people there, like me and Deepshikha. So, then we asked Venkat, see, we are going there, we don't mind going, but if there is some more support. So first he said, I want to go, but then he didn't have time. So then he put us with Raveen. Raveen is, and Raveen from the development office, big support. So we went with him. From here we flew to Dehradun, and from there we took Innova and we went to Chamoli and the Theli area. And then we sat in his office, Chandi Prasad Bhatt's office, and he was reading each file and giving. Of course, everybody is very emotional about parting with their memories, parting with their whatever. So, and we were also very careful. Whatever he wanted to give willingly. So this is also one thing I keep telling my staff also, that whenever you approach people, let them give it voluntarily and don't force them. If they don't want to give something, we can of course ask them, it is useful from. But if they don't want to, maybe it will come to us later, but just don't push it. So in that we got lots of files and a lot of good paper. We were there for one whole day, and then the next day we packed all that into Innova, and then we came back to Dehradun. We took a flight. There were excess baggage. Raveen managed everything. So yes, of course, because the papers are there, they are heavy. And then Chamoli, and then I can give insight. Then we were asked to go to Bangalore. There were Off Ali papers, and then Bangalore, of course, even Girish Karnad later. So from 17 to 18, if I'm not mistaken, we did at least 16 outstations.
16 out.
And we made a trip to Mumbai. We met Kiran Nagarkar, and then 2 trips. First, just a meeting with me and Professor Mahesh. We went there to meet him, to convince him that he should not give his paper. He was wanting to give it to some foreign university, so convince him, okay, they should be here. So then next trip we made to get the papers. So, and Bangalore, and when we went for Rauf Ali's papers, we met Girish Karnad, and we initially liked each other. So he liked the idea. Then he himself called us after a few weeks that you please come and visit, because I'm changing houses, and there are a lot of material here, you come and see it. So then we arranged, and this admin helped us a lot, especially the development office. So they would arrange a courier for us. So we went to Bangalore, and then the 4 trips in Chennai are, of course, very historic, and I wish you all were there at that time. you would have visited the house, and
Girish Karnad.
yes, and when they were showing me the cupboard, that this is Radhakrishnan papers, his grandnephew Kakeshwar ji, he opened the cupboard and he said, you please have a look at it. Do you think it's important to archive? And then when I took a file, and they were all letters from philosophers, I was having goose pimples, and I said, what is he asking? We don't want them. Oh, of course we want all of it. So then another box, it was opened, and there was a whole lot of paper there. Then we pulled out, there were Tagore letters, there were Gandhi letters. So, and so
Hidden treasure.
Yeah, hidden treasure. And then it was like a huge collection. So, but they wanted us to do preliminary sorting and also the listing, because it was from a trust, so the Radhakrishnan Trust in Chennai, they would share that list. So we went with our laptops, and whatever files we were selecting, preliminary selection we were doing, oh, this is useful for archive, we were putting it in on the lap, in a Word file there, and then we shared that Word file with him. And so he was, first he thought, oh, how they will do it. He was looking. Then when we started doing details of it, by the end of the day, second day, he said, Deepaji, I think you are doing good work, so you can take it easy and you need not give details just now. And that's what we were telling him, that once we catalog, we'll give all the details and all.
As someone who is working on the catalogue of Girish Karnad that we have in the archives, luckily, I just wanted to know about more of the catalogue collection, how you built the collection of Girish Karnad, and what was the process like?
Like initially, as I told you, we met him in his office, and then he showed us the papers. He said, do you think it's important for you? We said, of course it is important. He took out, and there's a small stack, I think it was a store, and there was a stack there, and he took me inside, and there was another person with him, and at that time also he used to have that oxygen mask, so we were feeling so very bad, because, but he was very keen. But when I saw the paper, I was quite shocked. It was quite damp, that area, and the files also, I could see the dampness in that mold and all that.
It must have taken a lot of time to.
So but I said, no, this must be, I told him, no, this must be, preserved and it must come out of this. So he said, you would like to take these also. Is it important? So there were files on his when he created that Nehru Center in London. So I saw that. I said, oh, we want this. So we want to know how that was established and all that. So then he said, is it important? I said, it's very important. And then correspondence. So, but that correspondence also was very damp, that you must have, if you see, it will be smudgy also because of the, dampness there. We tried to treat it here, but then we treated it twice because the dampness didn't immediately go, because we also didn't have this place.
So were you able to see the catalog when it was ready?
No, that's very unfortunate, And in fact,
Family must have.
no, that we have shown. But just a month before he passed away, he called me also, and then I have still some more papers to give you. And so, yeah, when I heard that, I was really shocked because I think it was a month of May or so that he called that, can you arrange a courier? So we arranged a courier. I said, there's only one box, so I still want to give. So we arranged a courier, and there was some coordination problem with the courier. He's reaching when he's not around and all. So, but we did get it. So the last box but then his son Raghu is in touch with me. In fact, recently he is sending, I'll show you his letter also. He went to New York and then he found some material on his father. And so he's got a book and some material along with that. So he is constantly, Raghu is also helping us. If he finds some more material, he sends it.
As I can see it, it's almost like you are cultivating a relationship with the donor and their family.
Yes.
So this is the trust, that I said. The foremost challenge is to build that trust. Nobody is going to give it to us, but trust is, whether we know about the work, and second is, where are you going to put it and how you are going to do it, what are the facilities, and mainly when they talk to us, and especially with our background of having worked in Nehru Memorial, and I think I'm very sentimental about when I talk about Nehru Memorial, because that has been where this is the place where I've learnt everything, and I'm here because of Nehru Memorial reputation. So, and there I had picked up this. As I told you, I'm not a trained archivist. I never was trained in the National Archives or anything. Now we do have archivists who are trained that way, and it's good that is training. But I had a hands-on kind of training, and so we try to talk to people, tell them.
So we have come to the last question. I would like to ask, what are your hopes for the archives of contemporary India? Where do you see it evolving in the next 10 years?
I think it will evolve into, of course, a resourceful center for social sciences in Ashoka University. That's what the dream is, that we have a center for historical research and interdisciplinary, so that's social sciences entire. And like we have collections on environment, we have journalists, and we have diplomats and authors, writers. So you see, it's a wide range. So interdisciplinary research center, finally it should evolve to like that. And of course, then a lot of challenges are there about, as I told you about. But it will be on the website, and it should grow into a center which is even, like I will also say one thing, that's something which is different in archives of contemporary India in the university. I think this is the first private university which is having this archives type, and it is being used by undergrads also. I have been in research institution where, like even in Nehru Memorial, we used to have postgrads and PhD scholars, postdoctoral authors, writers. But here we have young. So that is very, that's I find very interesting. And when I see the young students taking so much interest in what is in an archive, and also trying to learn what is an archive and the primary source of usage of primary sources. That is what we wanted. We want the young generation to know the use of, and they should be able to appreciate the use of primary sources. They know, see, like books are secondary sources, but at an early age, they are learning what is a primary source. So, we conducted workshops for LP students, Lodha Genius Program and YSP. So, they were young students, 9th, 10th, and they were very excited to know, because they had never seen, they never knew what is this. So introducing them to archive and archival practice and the primary sources, what is the use of a primary sources, why should somebody consult a primary source. So they were very anxious, and they wanted to come back and do a project also, like you all are doing.
Yes.
So you are all not archivists, you are from the architects field, huh?
Yeah.
And so, but then you get interested in this.
Yes.
So this is a novel field, and that is what is novel about archives. Very, very different from other archives, So so that is what I feel also, and for me also it's a new thing.
The
Yes.
space is really very inclusive.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. It will grow into a very good center for the university, but everybody can use, undergrads and the faculty and the researchers, the scholar, and not only Ashoka University, but outside. Because it's also on the website, and already lots of people have been coming. All the scholars, especially during this December time, like when they have holidays over there, we already have a few scholars who have asked us that they want to see these files and all that there. So it is picking up. It will take some more time, but it is picking up.
Yes. I think now we end it here. Thank you so much, Deepa ma'am, for joining us today and giving all of your valuable insights about archiving. We would love to connect more.
Thank you so much, and wish you all the best. Hope you have a good, full project on this.
Thank you.